My opinion does not always have to be with the majority. And in fact, a lot of times it won't be. If your opinion is in the 10% range, I don't know, you might want to rethink your opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't go well for you. But the government's doing it. But that tax money, I'm just saying it matters. In school, you should be taught about a car loan. You should be taught about a student loan.
A house loan.
For a house loan.
Yeah.
And they're going to grandstand and everything. They just don't want to stop their momentum right now. The only card that the Democrats have right now is delay. Like I said, we took over. MAGA has taken over the Republican Party. It is ours, and we are not giving it the fuck back. But how phenomenal was it that the president actually brought back a teacher from Russia? Now, it was stupid on the teacher's part. So we did vote for it. Maybe we didn't vote for him as an individual, but we did vote for this shit to happen. We did vote for this shit to be cleaned up. Isn't it great to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse? Doesn't end well unless it ends. You can't just report the fucking obvious.
I don't care what a critic got to say, I got them picking up the pieces. That mean you really playing with your life, I'm about to come and
Just
run
a
it all back.
motherfucking jump. Just go. Let's fucking go. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy. And the other fucking guy looks like he's ready. And he is. All right, Chase.
I'm as ready as I'm going to be this morning, to be honest with you. A little on the tired side, but, you know.
So
here we are.
Yeah. So the doctor adjusted some meds for me.
Okay.
And I don't know if I told you, like I really like this doctor. I think I've mentioned it before, that I like the cardiologist, but I really like the GP that we have now. And we were just there, I don't know, week and a half ago. Spent an hour with him. When's the last time you spent an hour with a doctor?
Not very often.
Yeah, that don't happen, man.
Mm-hmm.
But we pay, I don't know, $80-$90 a month. We pay some fee and stuff.
Okay.
Like, it's just, and he's listens. He's more about wellness. And so I needed some help because I'm sleeping like shit. And that's been an issue I've had for a while. That my biggest struggle with fitness, health, training, everything I do, and something that's absolutely super important to recovery is sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, I get pretty good results, I guess, is what I'm saying for
the amount of sleep you actually
get. I actually get. And so we tried, they prescribed me something when I was in the Vegas hospital.
Okay.
With the heart issue and the COVID and shit. I believe it was trazodone. So we continued with the trazodone. The problem was, once I got to sleep, it was fine. But when I would take it at night, it wasn't helping me get to sleep any faster. Like I would take it and 3 hours later, I'd still be awake.
Gotcha.
So I wanted something to help like get to sleep a little bit better. Once I was asleep, I'm pretty good. I was only getting up. Like last night, I got up twice to go to the bathroom, which is great for me. Okay, that's a really
good night.
good.
Yeah. Okay.
And right back to bed and out fast. Back to sleep fast.
Yeah.
Where sometimes previous to this, I might be up for a half hour or 45 minutes or something like that, right?
Before being able to go.
Yeah, not now. But I was still struggling, and they had mentioned, the melatonin again, and we did that, over-the-counter shit, the melatonin. And
like the gummies or
that didn't really help either. And so because we talk about this shit near our phones, and because we're one of only 2 countries in the whole fucking world that advertises drugs directly to people.
Yeah.
It's us in New Zealand. We're the only ones. Well, talking about sleep, what comes up on my phone? Some new drug. I don't know if it was called Restora, but it was a new drug.
Okay.
And So I showed it to him and asked him what he thought. Well, for whatever reason, he was surprised that he couldn't pull it up as an option, but he looked at the ingredients and we kind of went over it, and trazodone was in it. And so he goes, well, we can just kind of make it ourselves.
Yeah.
By,
Like mix it up for
yeah,
you.
get
Whatnot.
get a pill that's this ingredient and stay. Excuse me, trazodone was one of the ingredients. Stick with the trazodone, but then there were two others, and we chose one of the two to add to it to see if that helped.
Uh-huh.
First night, which was 2 nights ago, not so much, but definitely better
Then
last night. Yeah, it seems to be. And the cool thing is, we want to get to a place where my shit's back aligned or better, and then wean off of it too, which is what I like about this doctor. Is the goal is not to stay on this, kind of a thing. But yeah, really, really good doctor. So I was also prescribed. I have that one more test to get done, that another heart MRI.
Okay.
And everything's been great.
That's good.
So, but one more heart MRI next week. And then I think most things related to the heart, anything, I'm going to be coming off of that stuff. But one of the drugs that I was given last was this Ernesto, or not Ernesto, or Entesto,
Okay.
something like that. And talking to this doctor about it, he goes, and we were telling him how expensive it was. It's like $700 a month. Like the first time we got it, we had they found a coupon or something. So it was like $40-$50, but there's no coupon now. And Dawn went to pick it up for me, and we're like, I'm not paying $700 for that.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot
And
of money for medication.
Well, how about this? The truth of the matter is that it's not really a better drug than what they've been using for years and years. That there was a study, people in their studies, they crack me up sometimes. People think they're such good researchers, and they're not. But the truth, what this doctor told me, was that in this study, they had some evidence that they believe, this is just one single study, that maybe could extend someone's life by 8 or 10 weeks.
That drug?
Yeah.
The
8 or 10.
Like the $700.
The $700 drug. You're going to get an extra 2 months. So you're 83 years old, you're going to be 83 in 2 months or whatever. You're going to get an extra 2. I don't know.
I mean, if it's worth the price to you, then
for 2 months,
I guess.
I don't know, dude. And we just talked, because of what I do, because I do care about what I eat, because I do lift weights and maintain muscle, because I don't drink anymore and haven't for over 16 years now. And because I don't, I can't, it's probably been a good over 2 years since I even had a cigar. And in the last 10 years, I probably haven't had but maybe 5 cigars.
Okay.
So
very, very limited.
Where there was a time I was a little bit of a cigar connoisseur.
Gotcha.
And I might do a few a week or out on the golf course or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get you.
But I've never been a cigarette smoker. I stopped smoking weed when I stopped drinking. So like not being overweight, not being diabetic, doing all these other things. That's what's extending my life, bro. That's what gives me, bar getting hit by a bus, that's what's extending my life, or, the best possible chance to extend your life. Yeah, I don't need to spend $700 on.
I mean, especially if it's only going to be like an extra month or two.
But he said it's really highly pushed. Like they go to conferences and stuff, And I don't know if you've seen any of these true movies or movies based on the on what happened with different drugs, especially like Percocets and type thing,
Okay.
where they push these different drugs like that, or cancer drugs or whatever. I mean, the business of pharmaceutical companies getting doctors to prescribe their drug is a dirty, ugly business.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of it's ugly to see, because that's not how you hope it is. You hope that the doctor is going to do it for your
The right
best
reasons.
interest,
Yeah.
and not because
He's gonna
of
get a
how he's
paycheck or-
compensated.
yeah.
And, that can be even true. The doctor was telling me the incentives that they get,
Mhm.
that they have to like check off so many different boxes and then prescribe certain things. And if they get that, they get so many points, and then they get paid at a higher rate. And just
It's funny.
that's not what he wants, how he wants to be.
Yeah, no, the health system shouldn't be a commission job.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but I knew, I've known obviously some pharmaceutical reps
Uh-huh.
that, man, if I hadn't been in the financial business,
Yeah.
and you wanted to make money working for a company,
Mhm.
you wanted to make, say, $250,000 to $400,000 a year, in that range, 10, 15 years ago,
Mhm.
you wanted to make a good 6-figure check. That was the thing to
pharmaceutical,
do.
yeah.
Be a pharmaceutical rep. Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, it's always. I mean, for
It's
how long has the pharmaceutical companies been like the number one companies running like pretty much everything?
ads.
Yeah.
They control it all. They control the networks. They spend more than anyone else. It'll be interesting to see if that changes under Trump at all, especially with JFK. JFK
I
gets
was about to say JFK.
he gets confirmed today.
Does he?
Yeah, I think they're voting right now.
Because I know, was it Pam Bondi or whatever was
Yep.
confirmed yesterday? Or the
No,
day
that
before?
was Tulsi Gabbard got.
That's who I was thinking.
Pam
of.
Bondi got. It was last week
Gotcha.
that she was approved, and she's like on the job. You know what I mean? She's on, and so is Kristi Noem too. These women that Trump has hired, they are, or appointed to these cabinet positions, these women are fucking badass, dude. They are badass. They are going after it. And what's crazy is it's not just Trump who's holding a press conference or something, almost daily. His people are too. The media has never had such access to a president before, and so much information before, and a president willing to answer questions off the cuff like this. But yeah, and it just makes Democrats who want to say that the president has lost cognitive ability, like we accused Biden of.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know how stupid you sound? You're telling me my eyes are wrong? Because I saw Biden not know how to get off a fucking stage or where he was going next.
He couldn't do half the things they were
He
instructing him to do.
he couldn't do 1/10 of what Trump is doing right now, or present things in that way of his own agenda. He couldn't do it.
No.
He just would not have the ability to do that. And I think it's just amazing. But everybody, it's so much. It's really, and it's a little bit by design for sure that they're doing it this way. That was part of the plan that Trump has been putting together to for his second term
Mhm.
well before he even won. Like, they expected to win. And so when we win, this is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to handle it differently than we did the previous time. Like, that's been planned out over a couple of years on this.
Yeah.
And that's why they're so ready. And the Democrats are not ready at all. They're just continually screeching every day. And now the words that you hear daily, their mantra that got passed out,
Uh-huh.
that I'm sure there's a montage of, like somebody's put together of different Democrats using these words, or people in the media, the news saying these words.
Uh-huh.
Constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis.
Yeah. Remember before it was threat to democracy?
Uh-huh.
Trump's a threat to, everybody's a threat to democracy. Well, this is constitutional crisis.
Huh.
And there is no constitutional crisis. Think about this. President Biden wanted to forgive, and Democrats wanted to forgive student loans,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, you said you can't do that. And then he said he was going to do it anyway. So he tried to find different loopholes in other programs or other ways to still pay it off, and he did.
Okay.
So basically, even though the Supreme Court says you can't do this,
Uh-huh.
he didn't listen to the Supreme Court and did it anyways. That's what they're accusing Trump of potentially doing in the future. He hasn't
Okay.
done it yet.
Yeah.
Okay. They just keep saying, well, but if he doesn't listen to them, well, that wasn't his history in his first term. That if he wanted to do something and somebody sued
Uh-huh.
the White House,
Yeah.
sued him, and the court put the brakes on it for a minute, he fought it in the court and he followed whatever they said. He's commenting on it. He's saying how he thinks it's dumb, or a judge shouldn't be able to do this or that, but he hasn't gone ahead and said, well, fuck them, we're doing it anyways.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff is going to end up in the court, way more than they can handle. And the Trump administration is just ready for it and firing back, taking them to court. Example of that would be Pam Bondi, who you brought up,
Uh-huh.
who is going after the state of New York, and Hochuli is the governor. And I don't know if Letitia James, the attorney general, is a part of that too. But going after them because they're not going to follow the directives related to illegal immigration and turning people over. I mean, can you imagine deciding that it's a good thing to release somebody who was convicted of rape and not letting ICE pick them up just because you want to defy the president because you don't like him? I mean, that's the kind of stance they're taking and have done it. It's not gonna work. And so they're they're doing what they said they would do, and they're gonna go after these local governments, either cities or states, that are trying to defy federal law.
Mm-hmm.
Your stupid little sanctuary law is not greater than federal law.
Yeah.
But we allow it. We let it go. Or they haven't made it a priority to go after them in the past, and now it is a priority of this administration to go after them for that kind of stuff, which, great, let's do it. They tried to stop Trump and a judge did, stopped Trump for a minute last week with the retirements, like where you could voluntarily retire and get paid for the next 8 months.
Who does that include?
Any federal employee,
Oh, okay,
like
okay,
most,
okay.
not everyone, but it was like 90% of them. Like
Yeah.
there were certain exceptions, but anybody who was a federal employee mostly could take the buyout, this buyout. And the buyout was like, let's say you were an employee of the Department of Education and you worked from home,
Okay.
you know? And remember Trump said, y'all got to come back to work.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's say you'd rather not come back to work. And so what you could do is take this buyout, which is basically don't come back to work, retire from the government and get paid. You know, your retirement wouldn't really take effect until after
65 or whatever.
No. Well, it depends on how many years you have in and that kind of stuff, and if you can take a retirement check. But it wouldn't. You would get paid at your regular salary through the end of September, I believe.
Okay.
But they sued over this, like some unions representing government workers sued over this, and a judge did temporarily stop it. Well, the judge lifted that order yesterday, and by 7 p.m. Eastern time, they shut it down.
Excuse me.
I mean, the Trump administration shut it down. Like, we're not taking any more. These are the people that have applied for it, and they're going to get it. And the people who are against it tried to scare people who wanted to take it by saying you can't trust. Maybe Trump really isn't going to pay you through the end of September. like really? Like, do you think he would want that to be news? That makes no sense. No,
like pretty public news.
Yeah,
too would be,
yeah, he really wants them to take it. And earlier numbers I had saw last week, they had like 30 to 40,000 that had taken it, and by the end of yesterday, it was 75,000. But all I'm saying is, Trump won in court, so they sued him. They got it stopped for a week, and then Trump won and shoved it down their throat. Basically.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, one of the things, we're going to need people in the federal government. They're not trying to get rid of everybody. But here, let me give you something else that's just insane.
Okay.
Look up government employee retirement Lime mine shaft. I know that sounds weird. Government employee retirement, lime shaft, lime mine shaft. I think you probably got it anyways. Limestone mine. Dude, you should see. They have pictures of this fucking thing, dude. They have to do the paperwork by hand. It's not done on a computer. Like, if you're going to retire from a company, now you're going to be able to download it, right? Download the paperwork or go to your company's website and click on something and fill out the retirement paperwork, right? And then hit submit. And somebody else is going to receive it and process it on the computer. This is all done by paper and all done by hand, like you would have done 40, 50 years ago. And even 40, 50 years ago, you probably used, the first computers or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they have to take this paperwork down this real limestone mine shaft, like 200 to 300, there it is, 230 feet underground. Yeah, look at the picture of that shit, dude. They have to physically take it down there to find records or whatever, I guess. Can you believe we're storing shit that way?
Yeah, for what?
And it's not on a server. That's nuts, man.
Yeah, it's
And so because of this, and I'm not blaming the employees, okay? This is Congress's fault. This is bureaucracy's fault. But they can only process 10,000 retirements like a month because of that. I don't know how they're going to process this 75,000.
gotta hire a few more people, get them to work, like a nice little seasonal job.
Somebody needs to be writing some code right now
Figure that out.
and creating an app to be able to deal with this, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's gonna be way too much work, honestly.
well, it's ridiculous work. We shouldn't be operating like that. And yes, it might cost us something to
fund something
to fund it, to upgrade the equipment, and to train the people.
Yeah.
But how quickly is that going to save a shit ton of money? To save whatever it costs you to get the equipment and to be able to do so much better, and maybe with less people. Or keep the number of people, but you're able to do 15 times more of the work.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? I mean, it's just insane. Like, I get it. The government maybe, see, in my mind, I pictured you have the people who use computers and they have the latest and the best, and they're really smart with that shit, and they get the most out of the technology.
Yeah.
And then you get people like me that I don't use the technology in that deep of a way for the things that I do. So, you know,
you don't get the full
benefit. If my computer is 4 or 5 years old, it's still working for me because of what I'm doing. I'm not really, and I picture the government being a little bit behind that. You know, I just have always pictured that, expecting them not to have the latest, greatest, the best, being a little, but I never expected it to be that big a gap.
Yeah.
Right? That just shouldn't be a thing. And this is the kind of stuff we didn't know and wouldn't know if they weren't looking into it. And people like that they're looking into it and sharing. And Trump said, I don't know, a number of days ago, you know, would he ever make Elon available to answer questions? Yeah, he did. I believe that was 2 days ago. He did. And I think you were seeing some of that about when it was showing Elon in the Oval Office the other day. And he had his kid with him. Trump is signing, I think, some more executive orders to make their heads spin. Yeah, just, dude, it was the most real thing in the world. Where sometimes you just got to take your kid to work with you. How many people identified with that, you know? And like I said, it was so funny. His kid was sticking his finger in his, I mean, he was basically a good kid, but he was also acting like a little kid.
Yeah.
He wasn't like super obnoxious or anything, but it was just funny. It was just so real. And it was, I enjoyed listening to that particular, you know,
video of,
that video of watching that whole thing, you know, because what the news is going to do is they're going to take 30 seconds, 2 minutes tops of something like that and air on whatever their station is.
Oh yeah.
But being able to listen to the whole thing like we can now, it's very, very interesting. And how about this? So they keep talking about that Elon Musk and his young men that work for him have access to your information, like, Social Security numbers, and, you know, getting into the information about Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare. They're just trying to look and see where things are going. they're not stopping people from getting their Social Security checks. That's not happening.
Okay.
They haven't done that. The liberals make it sound like it's
They're gonna get rid
gonna
of you.
happen
Yeah.
or something, or that they're gonna steal your Social Security. But the question is that Elon has brought up is there are some people that are getting Social Security checks, and for it to, that it looks like in this particular one they're looking at, this particular Social Security number, this particular person that they're looking at, based on the information that's in there, that they would be 150 years old collecting a Social Security check. Now, he brought up at this White House presentation, he brought up, like, do you know anybody 150 years old?
No.
No, you
Not
don't.
alive.
And I don't know. No, we're talking about alive.
Yeah. No.
Somebody who's living that's 150 years old. And he even said, like, if you're 150 and alive, you should be in the Guinness Book of World Records.
You'd be on the news somewhere. They're showing that someone has, past 150.
So that is something that he's just pointing out. This should be investigated. That we should have people cleaning up the waste, fraud, and abuse because somebody's getting that check.
Yeah.
That Social Security check, because it's getting mailed out.
Yeah.
And there's no way the person is really 150 years old. So who's getting the check? Is it a kid? Is it that it never got shown that they died and then people related to him kept getting the check and cashing it? What's going on? And I'm not saying they should go after all those people. You know, some probably, others not. But wouldn't you agree that if there's not a 150-year-old person at the end of that check, that they shouldn't be getting it anymore? That at some point after a investigation, to verify that you would cut that off then.
I mean, if the person's
I'm not
alive,
saying
I
cut
don't
it
see
off.
why they would be receiving. Yeah, I mean, they're not alive. They shouldn't be receiving money.
Or
That's
people
just
are
simple.
using the Social Security numbers of dead people to collect different benefits and things like this. And it's insanity that there's not even software that they use to literally just verify that things match up between a real person. And just that alone, they believe, could potentially save maybe close to $1 trillion. That's what somebody testified yesterday. Let me pull it.
$1 trillion.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is across. So not just that. How about this? Say you're a company and you got a contract with the government, and that contract was supposed to last 3 months, that you were supposed to get a check for whatever service you provide, right?
Yeah.
And now it's 3.5 years later, you're still getting that check, even though your contract was only 3 months. A lot of people, they're not going to tell the government, stop sending me the money.
No. They're just.
But there's things like that going on in different departments. That's what they're talking about finding and going after. We're not talking about
Getting rid of.
fucking over old people or taking Social Security benefits away or not paying contractors for the work that they do. But how about we just don't overpay people for work that they're not doing? How about that? Or allowing somebody to charge you. This was a big one. You've been listening to the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy. And I need you to take action. Take action by sharing the show. Take action by hitting that subscribe button. Make comments. Share with us your thoughts. Follow me on other social media. You have access to me. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of right now. You want to talk to the guy, you can do that. Facebook, We're on many other platforms now that you can find us and the show. We've expanded that and are going to continue to do that, just like we've expanded the show. 3 shows a week now that are uploaded on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So look for that as well. We thank you very much. Pam Bondi. If you look up Pam Bondi, she got the money back. How about this? Pam Bondi, 59 million. Put 59 million. That'll come up. All right, there it is. So some of that money, I don't know if I had heard 59 million. Now we're seeing 80, but I really don't care. A chunk of that 59 million was for housing, and the rest of it was for food and other things. But they were giving money to New York. New York pretty much could do what they wanted, and New York was giving these hotels money. Like, these really weren't luxury hotels.
Yeah.
But they were charging luxury hotel prices. And here's the thing, think about it, and they would be like fully occupied. Okay, and so they're getting a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And more money than they would ever get just operating like they had been previous to this. But I still am a rep. I'm a promoter for Lavelle, for Thrive, the supplement, right?
Yeah.
And in my time with Lavelle, I really don't go anymore. But I qualified for a bunch of trips that they paid for.
Okay.
Where we would go to the Hard Rock Resort in Mexico or the Dominican Republic, and they would pay for it.
Okay.
And you got to think there's going to be, let's say there's 1,000 of us. It would be big.
Uh-huh.
It was big. We'd have a big party down there and stuff one night and stuff too. But, it was a reward. Part of our compensation almost,
Yeah.
to enjoy the lifestyle and things. And it was awesome when I was working to make my comeback. But when a company is going to be bringing 1,000 people into a resort,
Mhm.
do you think they pay the maximum amount, or do you think they negotiate a discount on the room?
I'm sure they had some negotiations going on.
Yeah, of course they did.
Yeah.
Of course they did. It's no different than when Dawn and I were going to different bowl games
Mhm.
that, like, Arizona State contacted me. They had packages that were put together, and, they negotiated hotel prices that were included in the package.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't a hotel I wanted to stay at, but they negotiated that as a part of it.
Yeah.
That maybe it would normally be $250 a night, and it would be $200 a night is what they negotiated as a part of this package, because they're bringing so many people. Why wouldn't the federal government do that? But they're not. I'm just saying they're not.
Yeah.
But if you have a hotel and your hotel is not regularly fully occupied, and because of me, it's going to be fully occupied, you shouldn't be jacking up the rate on me. I should be negotiating a lower rate and getting a better deal, because you're going to have every room filled.
Yeah.
You're still going to make money.
Technically more than you would.
You would have otherwise, yeah. Without advertising or any of the costs that are associated with promoting your hotel and doing that kind of thing, yeah, of course. But they're not doing anything like that. They're just letting people rip them off. And, well, on this particular case, though, they were told to not send any more money out and these people defied the executive order of the president and sent money anyways.
Okay.
And so what normally would happen is it'd be, well, it's already sent. And they fired 4 people over this. But she went and got the money back. She made New York City, who the money went to first, give that money back. And they did. Because she is the attorney general and she ain't fucking around. You give me the money back or I'm coming after you. And who wants to be in the news over this like this? You want it to be in the news quick and go away.
Let it pass by. Move on.
Well,
to the
think
next
about
thing,
it. And it's partly the way the money was funneled through. I don't know why it actually goes through FEMA, but it does. And it just looks bad because of how it goes through FEMA. Because you really, again, we've had other issues with FEMA. We have issues still with the people in North Carolina who are sleeping in tents outside, Americans, and those people got $750.
One check.
But you're sending 700 or you're sending 59 million to take care of illegal immigrants and not taking care of actual U.S. citizens. Again, I'm not saying that we should never be gracious or do good things or help other people. But to do that at the expense of blue collar people that are making 50, 60 grand a year and, working to, just get eggs every week, right?
No, honestly, don't know.
And they can't get any help after a hurricane that is totally out of their control. We can't help them, but we can throw them. It just looked.
Yeah,
It
no,
just looks.
it
It just
bad,
looks
yeah.
bad.
Oh yeah.
But Democrats, amazingly enough, keep defending. They're on this other side of such a loser. I mean, I don't mind. My opinion does not always have to be with the majority. And in fact, a lot of times it won't be. But do you really, if your opinion is in the 10% range with the 10, I don't know, you might want to rethink your opinion. I would probably what is so small? Why is that? And that's really, they're backing themselves into a corner now with this shit. And it doesn't look good. Do we have, what did I have you pull up that with the, just throwing it out there while I'm looking at this. The NFL got what they wanted.
What do you mean?
I saw where, people can say whatever they want. And, a lot of people saying that the halftime show, talking about the halftime show, was the worst they've ever seen. Well, 133 million plus, the most ever, saw the worst show. And what do you care about? The eyeballs, man. You care about the eyeballs, right?
Oh yeah.
It worked out exactly like they wanted it to.
I don't know if they can take full credit for that, but
Oh, no,
yeah,
no. But I mean,
for
in
sure.
choosing him
Oh yeah,
and
instead of
what
Lil Wayne.
delivered, they could say whatever they want. But the truth is, whatever you think of it doesn't matter because it delivered.
Oh yeah.
And they can, what advertisers or companies that paid millions of dollars, I think at certain commercials, 30 seconds was like $8 million or something.
Yeah, No,
right?
it's a stupid amount of money.
Yeah, it was crazy amount of money. But it was worth it to him. It was worth it. And the commercials, maybe next year, the commercial right before the halftime show and the commercial right after the halftime show,
Are the most
they're
expensive.
going to be able to get more money for next year than they got this year.
Yep.
Right? I'm just saying it was a good thing. Yeah, that one says 127.7. Yeah, but see, the 133 is what I saw.
I saw the 133 as well.
Yeah. So everybody can just suck it. Really, like, it doesn't matter what you think. It worked.
It worked well.
It worked really. Oh, I don't mean to get off topic, but now that I am off topic for a second, and we'll go back. Was it true that those jeans were women's jeans?
Probably.
$1,300. But they didn't look like, I don't know how you identify that they were women's jeans, but somebody figured it out.
I think it's the style, because
They don't make men's jeans like that?
No, I don't believe
Did they just fit him so well because he's got a round ass?
Probably, honestly.
I don't know.
But I think someone was able to recognize the brand, and then they looked it up and realized that it was only like
maybe just only
a woman's thing or something like that.
Yeah, $1,300 I saw was the price tag on the jeans.
But the other
and that company, like, again,
skyrocket.
like their sales, like they did more than they ever do in a month.
That
in one day.
halftime show like benefited multiple people. Like a lot of the different brands and stuff like that got a boost, and he's broken all types of records in the past few days with like the views, monthly listeners, like he's been going crazy, like,
because it is kind of crazy though that the NFL does not have to pay these people, and they perform. And then, as I understand it, I could be wrong, but he spent like $15 million of his own money to put on the production.
I wouldn't be surprised, because I'm sure they would have limited him for like sets or costumes or something like that. Because I was watching a video and they were explaining that with Super Bowl, there's that one lady that kind of coordinates everything. I forget her name. But yeah, if like I said, I didn't get a
15 million
chance.
is what I saw, which I don't doubt, which was just interesting. But
yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised, because like Kendrick's very like like I said, he likes to be very symbolic and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we
So-
never even talked about the car, did we?
The GNX?
Yeah.
Mhm.
We talked about it?
No, we didn't talk about it.
Yeah, I didn't think we did. Love the car.
Beautiful car.
Love the car.
Beautiful car.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently that car, the reason that car is like very symbolic for him is it was the same year that he was born that model car came out, and on his way home from the hospital, his father was driving a different trim but the same type of car.
Grand National.
Yeah. So he was very
Yeah, and the one other quick thing that I saw too that was interesting was the Gloria, because I couldn't read what it was said on his jacket, but it was Gloria. It was on the front of his jacket, which is his mom's name, and also Gloria as in glory, like glory to God.
Gotcha.
It was the symbolism for that too, which was I
I
thought that was cool.
like I said, I mean,
I'm into that stuff. So yeah. Like, I was glad you sent me those videos. That was cool. I appreciate that. So let's go back to though what we had. I've been off track now. That we were pulling up with Elon Musk. And, yeah. There we go. Can we play that video? Yeah, let's play this. Let's play this video. It's not long.
How much money do you calculate is wasted due to waste, fraud, and abuse in the entitlement programs each year?
Yeah, my number right now between federal, state, and local government is you can save $1 trillion a year by simply putting in front-end identity verification, eliminating self-certification, and monitoring the back end of the programs that are providing the benefits. Those three things.
How much money do you calculate
Let it go
is
through a
wasted
second time.
due to waste, fraud, and abuse in the entitlement programs each year?
Yeah, my number right now between federal, state, and local government is you can save $1 trillion a year by simply putting in front-end identity verification, eliminating self-certification, and monitoring the back end of the programs that are providing the benefits. Those three things.
How much
Isn't
money?
that crazy? Just verifying ID that somebody is who they say they are,
It's a crazy concept.
instead of, I mean, you work at a bank. Besides working for me, you work at a bank.
Mhm.
If I come into the bank, can I just say I'm Troy Neff and I want to access my account?
No.
I can't.
But a
What-
lot
what-
of people like to.
Right, but I can't.
No, not legally, no.
I have to do one of two things. I either have to give you my driver's license,
Mhm.
or I have to use my debit card and put in my PIN number for that account, and then it pops up on your screen. And either one of those two things are ID verification
Mhm.
to make sure that the guy who wants, even if the only part that I find crazy is sometimes is the ID when you want to add money. Because if what I really want to happen is if somebody ever walks into the bank and wants to add money to my account and they're not me,
Yeah.
let them. Okay. Let them add the money.
There's
But-
gonna be no issue with that, right?
Not really, because who would do that?
Yeah.
Who
No
would do
one.
that? And any receipt you give me is only going to have
The last four.
the last four numbers. It's not going to tell me anything. Like, it's not like I can do something with that if I actually did that.
Not to
you
my
know?
knowledge. At
If
least.
I went and tried to put money in your account, I'm not going to get any benefit out of that or get information in some way that would be. But even for that, you got to have ID.
Yep.
Got to have ID. ID verification. Just makes sense. You have
Very-
to do
I
that
mean,
for
it's
your
like
bank account.
It's a simple thing.
But
yeah.
what he's saying is, like, for some of these programs and things,
Uh-huh.
is you just get to say you're whoever.
And it's gonna
It
let you
never gets
through.
verified, and okay, you don't have to prove it in any way. You don't have to show us.
Like, we'll believe you.
We believe you, and we'll send you a check. Yeah, nobody would ever take advantage of that. There's
No,
not
no,
fraudsters out
definitely
there.
not, no.
I mean, look at the amount of money. I bet. I don't even know if we know at this point, but hopefully there's an investigation at some point of what percentage of the money that was spent on COVID was waste, fraud, and abuse. You know, people who just collected money, figured out a way to make the request, got the money, and, you know, I've seen the stories out there
Really?
of people and the things they've bought and, you know, the handful of people that got caught. But the thing is, it's only a small handful that got caught. The risk was so low, it was worth it to these scammers to do it.
I mean, yeah. If risks, gotta weigh the risk and benefit. You
The
know,
risk
like-
was low and the potential for receiving money,
I mean, was pretty much
was
guaranteed.
huge.
Yeah. I mean,
they wanted to get the money out. There was no
like order or
verification.
anything to it. Yeah.
No, that was all after the fact. And then how do you claw money back when the dude bought a Lamborghini? You know what I mean? I guess
go
you could
around
take
and
his
repo it, yeah.
you could take his Lamborghini, but you ain't getting all the money back.
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
as
not
soon as you put a
happening.
mile or two on with something like that thing drops in value.
Yeah.
No,
It
that'd be
it's
funny
so
though.
stupid though,
That'd be
dude.
hilarious. They go around just start
I
repoing
want to
people's
go to the
cars.
government auction where they get that shit back. I'll bid on it. But it's just so stupid. There's something that simple. So Elon was also talking about how there's different lines and that you, as a company, you would do this, you know, that there's like a memo area. So what it would be, say, at the Outlaw Apostle company, that the company pays out Chase Services
Mhm.
$1,000, and then in the memo area, you know, for podcasting or recording, you put what it was for. You
Yeah.
put the business, but you also put what it was for.
Mhm.
In some of these cases,
Leave it blank.
they're even the person that it's going to is almost blank or in the system.
Yeah.
Is blank, and then what it was for and used for, that there's just it's just a mess. Nobody would keep records like that. And if you kept records like that yourself and had to sit down with the IRS, they would fucking eat your lunch, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't go well for you.
Yeah.
But the government's doing it. And people have had this complaints for years and years, and nothing was ever done about it. And now something is finally getting done about it. And that it's not just a little bit of money. We are talking serious sums of money now. And Trump wants to, another reason that Trump wants to do this is Trump wants to keep the tax cuts in place that he put there back in 2017.
Yeah.
Because to get that tax cut passed, they had to agree to a sunset provision, which is at the end of this year. So that just simply means this law is in place
Mhm.
until the end of 2025. And before the end of 2025, you have to renew it or come up with a different plan, or it reverts back to however it was prior to 2017.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And he wants to keep the tax cuts. Now, the Democrats always say, oh, the tax is just for the rich. It's just for these billion-dollar corporations. That was a huge tax cut for just regular people. And I'm not going to debate or argue about it. If you don't want to believe it, you're just not digging into it and understanding how this shit works. But when over 1 million people were taken off the tax rolls, just meaning that this person that in 2016 they paid $2,300 in taxes, and after Trump's tax cut in 2017 they paid zero. They got every penny back. They didn't pay any taxes, so they got a tax cut of $2,300. Okay, 1 million people.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. And other people, it might have not have eliminated their entire tax bill,
Yeah.
but it took it way down.
Yeah.
You
A
see
good
what I'm
chunk
saying?
of money. Yeah.
And especially middle class, there is at the lower end of the middle class, there are things that enable a lower middle class person to get back not only all of the money that they paid in for taxes or that was withheld from their check,
Okay.
as far as federal taxes, you know, the Social Security, that's going to be gone, but the federal income taxes, that not only do they get that all back, but in some cases get back money they didn't even pay in. And how that happens is these tax credits, you know, could be child tax credit or whatever.
Gotcha.
Right. Some investment tax credits reduce your tax bill dollar for dollar, but you have to have a tax to offset it. With these other kind of tax credits that I'm talking about, like the child care tax credit, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, you know, for having a kid and stuff, That you don't have to offset. You actually get the money. So if it goes beyond what taxes you owed, then you just get that. Besides your tax bill being eliminated, you'll still get money above. And to me, when you get money that you didn't earn, welfare, however you want to go. But in this case, you just don't have to go to the welfare office or stand in the welfare line.
Yeah.
Right? But it is welfare.
Same concept, yeah.
And look, if you get that stuff, if you qualify for it, you know what I think? Take it.
Yeah.
Take it. It's what the rules are. It's what the current rules are. Do I think it's the best thing to? Doesn't matter. If you qualify for it, you should take it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think that's the case, okay, for people of any level of income.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to. These liberals that complain about what other people pay in taxes, well, you don't have to take that home interest deduction if you don't want to. But why wouldn't you? But you don't have to. If you donate to a charity, you don't have to take that deduction. You can just give it to the money to the charity. But why wouldn't you?
No,
But
I mean,
if you want to give them more money, give the government. If you think that's the best way to handle things, then be my guest. Go and do that. My whole point that I'm getting to, though, is you're probably talking for middle-class people. They're mostly going to be in that maybe $2,000 to $5,000 to $8,000 range of taxes.
Yeah.
And they can only get so much of a if your tax bill is $2,300, if it's $4,000, let's go with the 4. If your tax bill is $4,000, how much can you really get back? Mostly up to the $4,000.
You would hope so.
Mostly, right? But it's going to be somewhere from 0 to 4,000. Well, you only paid 4,000 in. How much do you think you should get back? Okay, now the people that really get hammered are not the rich, and it's not the poor and middle class. It's the affluent that get hammered. Because the affluent are paying the highest tax rate on income tax versus the wealthy are the reason their rate is lower is they've already paid the tax on the money originally and accrued money, and they have these investments, and the tax on the investments for capital gains and dividends, if they're living on that and taking that money, it's much less than what income taxes are. They're not getting away with anything, but it's because they've earned money, paid taxes on it, took risk, saved that money, and now they're paying tax on it a second time, but it's a lower amount. But people that are trying to divide people are not pointing that out. They just pay less.
Yeah.
No, that's not how it works. But I haven't made it to that other high end part.
Yeah.
But I have been in that affluent area.
Gotcha.
And it is fucking brutal. And then what happens is certain tax cuts that you qualify. Like I remember there were tax cuts or different things that if I made $250,000 or less, I qualified for.
Okay.
But once you hit that 250 mark, you don't get to take that deduction anymore. So that's other money thrown on top of there. And it would be serious. So, but again, I think at the highest amount that I ever paid was I owed maybe just under 300,000 on earnings of 800,000.
Wow. That's a big chunk of cash.
So are you really mad as a fellow citizen, if the part of the tax cuts, I get 20,000 back out of that 300,000, that it lowers my tax bill from 300,000 to 280,000. I'm getting a bigger tax cut than you. Does that make me bad? You see what I'm trying to
I
get
get what you're
at
saying,
there?
yeah.
But that's the way they portray it.
Yeah.
Like it's tax cuts just for the well, the reason that guy got 20,000 is he made more. He's still paying a shit ton.
Yeah.
And in fact, they can't lie about it, even though they do.
Mhm.
Anybody can go to the IRS website and pull up the tables and see what people pay and what group pays the most in taxes at different levels of income.
Yeah.
And the people in the middle and lower, they're not even paying 10% of all of the taxes that are collected. They're just not.
Yeah.
So of course their tax cut's going to be less.
Just
It's just
mathematically,
is.
It's just always, yeah.
But again, so you give, that was when I had my financial business,
Mhm.
right? But you give me that $20,000 back, maybe I can give my employees a raise. Maybe I can hire another college kid, or 2 college kids part-time. I used to hire sometimes a high school kid, but usually college kids were better they would make phone calls for me,
Okay.
and do cold calling, basically, cold call leads. And it sucks. It's a shitty fucking job. All right. But it was a job also that was going to set you up and help you the rest of your life to be able to deal with people and take rejection and how you handle answers and all that. It was very valuable. And how do I know that? Is because to start my business, when I couldn't afford somebody to do it for me, I had to do it.
Okay.
I had to make those cold calls. Okay, so it was great. And for them, I paid them an hourly fee, an hourly amount, and then I would pay them based on per appointment that showed.
Like a partial, like depending on. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that like you would get like I don't know what it was back then, $10-12 an hour. But that's when
Yeah,
people
whatever
were
the-
paying back then. They
Yeah.
weren't, it's only in the last few years you could make $20 an hour at McDonald's, okay? I mean, literally, think about this. And I'm not complaining, okay? But yesterday, Dawn and I, this is what we ordered. We went to Chick-fil-A because of time, but here's a healthy option from Chick-fil-A, okay?
Okay.
The market salad, which they put plenty of chicken on, and we don't put any of the nuts on or anything. And they have the apple vinaigrette dressing that's fantastic. It's got some fruit on it, chicken, super healthy salad. And then we got the grilled nuggets.
Okay.
Not the meal,
Yeah.
just the entree, just the 12 nuggets. And I would put personally, I put buffalo sauce on them. She didn't. And then we both had, we usually get either Diet or Coke Zero or whatever,
Yeah.
2 people. Chick-fil-A,
$36, 42 cents.
48. $48. Now, for that same $48, we can go sit down at Nando's. And that $48, probably with a $10 to $15 tip,
Yeah.
will come out to the $50.
Oh yeah.
Maybe. But we could go do a sit-down restaurant for that. This is fast food that we're at. $48.
Yeah.
24, but we both ordered the same thing, so $24 a person for Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad I make more. I don't
honestly.
worry about that shit.
No,
But I'm
that's
just saying.
funny. Yeah.
But yeah. So anyways, yeah, $10, $12 or whatever was, or 15 or whatever I paid. It was good for the time.
Yeah.
and it was good hourly. But then, because I wanted to incentivize you, you'd get, I don't know if it was 20 or 25 bucks I paid per appointment. And it didn't matter whether they hired me or not.
Yeah.
Because that was
that's your part. Yeah.
That's my part. Your part is just to get them to the office.
Yeah.
So that's, it was good. And they could easily average over $20 to $30 an hour with their commissions.
Oh yeah.
Easy.
If you put the work in.
The work in.
Yeah.
And then the time I would let you, because some people, when you would call people at night, well, people work different shifts and stuff. And that person that you've called at 7:15 has not answered twice now on different nights. They need to be called during the day.
Yeah.
So you, based on your school schedule, you might have 3 or 4 hours available. I'd let you come in and work that.
Yeah.
It was very flexible in that. And again, you could make the same money with half of the hours with me than you would have if you did work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
You'd have to work double the hours with them. So mine let you do your school without killing yourself and have a job and make some money. Does that?
Yeah, you have a little
It
more.
was a good
freedom,
job, in doing that. So, but yeah, that money means something to a small business.
Oh yeah.
Because we can't offer the benefits that other, we're
Big
not
corporate
Costco.
companies,
We
yeah.
can't do that. We would love to be able to do that someday. We want to work towards that. And it is important to invest in your people. I've always been a big believer in that, that basically the Costco philosophy, it's better to keep them than be retraining somebody else all the time. That's just not it, But that tax money, I'm just saying it matters. It matters. And people it would be great if that kind of stuff was taught in school.
Yeah. Honestly though.
Yeah.
It's most people they won't understand a single thing about taxes or anything. Yeah. No. I had someone the other day, two of my coworkers were asking what APY was stand for and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, you work at a bank, you don't know what APY stands for. But yeah, no, it's just a lot of that stuff needs to be taught. That is for sure. So
Yeah.
people have an understanding. I think that's why governments are able to get away with a lot of things is because people don't fully understand the way money actually works. So that's why they're able to get away with things a lot easier.
They don't understand what it costs. They don't understand how the loan works.
Yeah.
Basics of loans. I mean, you should be taught about in school. You should be taught about a car loan. You should be taught about a student loan if you go to college. And you should be taught about a loan,
A house loan.
for a house loan.
Yeah.
And maybe even throw in,
Some
a
credit cards.
business loan.
Or business,
Credit
yeah.
cards too. Absolutely. I'm glad you added that. Yeah. Credit cards too. Yeah. Whatever it is you bought at 20% off, if you're carrying a balance, you're not getting a discount.
Yeah.
You're not benefiting from getting that discount. You're giving that discount back to the bank. That's who's collecting that. Not even the retailer, the bank.
The bank.
And the
that's a
bank
whole
is
other
already
situation, yeah.
And now we have the situation where a lot of retailers are adding a surcharge that if you pay for something with a credit card, the credit card company charges the
2% or
retailer
whatever it is.
2 to 4%. And now you can either pay cash. It used to be where retailers would eat that 2 to 4%
Okay.
for the convenience of its customers, and they wanted the business, but they would eat that. But a lot of them now are not eating it.
Huh.
Yeah, you look that you're going to pay that.
Interesting.
Oh.
I don't think I ever really paid attention to that, but
Yep.
so is that a recent thing or?
More recent, but it's been going on for a minute.
Wow.
Just depends on the business.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's things. But people need to know and understand that kind of thing. And, maybe it makes a difference. Now, I put a lot of stuff on my card and pay it off every month, partly because I want the points. I get other benefits from it. It basically covered, I paid like $40 for our first class flights to Atlanta and back.
Yeah.
Because I used my points with Delta.
Yeah.
And if I had to actually pay for that trip, which I have in the past, it would have been around $4,000 for the airplane tickets that I had.
No, but
But it was worth it for me.
oh yeah, if you learn how to use credit cards and use points properly, that's
There
the
was
best
a
way to go
time
about
I
it.
wasn't good at that. I learned the lesson as a young person the hard way. And then I went to all cash. Like, dude, you couldn't at any one time, I was probably the best person to jump with 3 or 4 guys because I would never have less than 1,000 and probably 2,000 in my pocket, up to 4,000 or 5,000 all the time.
Yeah.
All the time I walked around, and my dad would be like, "Why do you walk around with so much money?" Because I pay cash for everything. That's why. And it was good for a long time because it was harder for me to part with the money. Do I really want that? It always made me pause when I had to
Physically hand over cash.
hand over the cash.
Yeah.
It wasn't writing a check. It wasn't just not spending money I didn't have. It was money I had. It was in my pocket, and it just made me think twice about it. And I don't think twice about it at all anymore. But again, I use my card and I use it properly.
Yeah.
Now. And it's funny. Like, I get stuff in the mail. I laugh every day, like, because of my credit card balances.
Mhm.
Like pay off your credit cards, this % interest. Like, I don't have any problem with that. I'm not paying any of that interest. I'm paying it off every month.
month.
Look, but I think they just see, because I can have over the course of a month, I can charge $30,000 to $50,000, and I get that in points then every month. Anything. I'm mad that I can't pay my
The house bill and everything.
my rent
Yeah.
and my car payments with it, because that's other points I could get.
A lot of points. That's a lot of points.
For me, it is.
That's
It's
a
it's a
lot.
little bit.
That's a lot.
It's a little bit. But that is what it is. But just a lot of things going on with Doge that are very, very positive. And it was, I do encourage people to, can you, is that something you can pull up too? The, I would say Elon and Trump in the Oval Office. Yeah. Do they have video? It was so good.
Joining us now to discuss Musk's work at Doge is our very own Ben Werschel. Ben.
Yeah, so it was talking. And even through all that, though, the hard thing to kind of.
Yeah, I want the part of Elon talking.
So,
Getting questioned. Yeah, there you go.
there's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone that's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So, that's a case where, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. And then there are a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it, and that they receive it quickly and accurately. I'll tell you another crazy thing. So, one of the things is we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this obviously there need to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently. So we're saying, well, okay, well, let's, if people can retire, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments, everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we were told the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And I'm like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955.
Because it is.
So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government.
How stupid is that?
And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire.
And then the whole thing just shuts down.
Doesn't that sound crazy? There's like 1,000 people that work on this. So I think if we can take those people and say, like, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else. And you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful way. So anyway, so I think that's an example. Like at a high level, if you say, like, how do we increase prosperity? Is we get people to shift from roles that are low to negative productivity to high productivity roles. And so you increase the total output of goods and services, which means that there's a higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal. Everyone's very quiet, by the way. So are people normally this quiet?
Your detractors, Mr. Musk.
I have to what?
Including a lot of Democrats.
I have detractors?
You do, sir.
I don't believe it.
Say that you're orchestrating a hostile takeover of government and doing it in a non-transparent way. What's
How
your
is this
response
not
to that
transparent?
Well, first of all,
Maybe they have the wrong definition.
you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public voted. We have a majority of the public voting for President Trump. We won the House. We won the Senate. The people voted for major government reform. There should be no doubt about that. That was on the campaign. The president spoke about that at every rally. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for. And a lot of times, people that don't get what they voted for, but in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for. And that's what democracy is all about.
Mr. Musk, the White House says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts of interest that you may have. Does that mean that you are, in effect, policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency?
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the Doge organization. So, and the kind of things we're doing are, I think, very, very simple and basic. They're not, what I mentioned, for example, about Treasury, just making sure that payments that go out, taxpayer money that goes out, is categorized correctly, that the payment is explained, that organizations on the do not pay list, which takes a lot to get there, that actually are not paid, which currently they are paid. These are not individual judgment decisions. These are about simply having sensible checks and balances in the system itself to ensure that taxpayer money is spent well. So it's got nothing to do with, like, say, a contract for some company of mine at all.
But if there is a conflict of interest when it comes to you yourself, for instance, you've received billions of dollars in federal contracts. When it comes to the Pentagon, for instance, which the president, I know, has directed you to look into.
Yeah.
Are you policing yourself in that? Is there any sort of accountability check and balance in place that would provide any transparency for the American people?
Well, all of our actions are fully public. So if you see anything, you say, like, wait a second, hey, Elon, that seems like maybe that's, there's a conflict there. It's not like people are going to be shy about saying that. They'll say it immediately,
Including you yourself.
Yes, but Transparency is what builds trust, not simply somebody asserting trust. So not somebody saying they're trustworthy, but transparency, so you can see everything that's going on. And then you can see, am I doing something that benefits one of my companies or not? It's totally obvious.
That's pretty good.
I love how awkward he is.
You know, sometimes you don't know who he is. You've never heard of William F. Buckley Jr. William F. Buckley Jr. was a very brilliant man and was a leading conservative for a long, long time.
Okay.
Back in, the 70s and 80s. Super smart. And you see some of these people that are that smart that when they talk, especially extemporaneously,
Yeah.
that they're thinking while they're talking, you get that. Like, I think that's a common trait amongst people that are really, really smart.
Yeah.
That I remember that was always like that listening to him too. But I don't think, I know they stopped him from testifying before the subcommittee yesterday that you showed that clip of about the $1 trillion and just identification and stuff. But at some point, he will be before some congressional hearing.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to grandstand and everything. They just don't want to stop their momentum right now. And that's the only card that the Democrats have right now is delay, or to stop things through the courts just temporarily, or in Congress through procedures, like making them go through every step to get to the vote, when sometimes they would waive certain steps because you know how the vote's going to be. So they know that the Republicans have the votes, say, for RFK.
Okay.
But despite knowing that, by making the Republicans go through these other steps, which is totally legitimate, it's part of the rules, okay, they can delay the vote for 5 or 6 days. But that's all they can do.
Yeah.
The vote is going to happen because they have the votes. You can make it so you have, like, you're going to go, because say you can waive the 30 hours of debate or whatever, or where people get to stand up and grandstand or whatever. That's all they can do. And they are doing that. But that's it. It's going to happen. You're not going to stop it from happening. And the only way they can stop it, I believe, Tulsi Gabbard got every Republican vote except for one.
I believe
And so it's, the number in the Senate is 53-47 between Democrats and between Republicans and Democrats. Democrats have 47, and she got 52. And the piece of shit that didn't vote for her was Mitch McConnell, the former head of the Senate. And he's almost like, for me and for other MAGA, he's almost not, he's really not even a Republican anymore. You know, he's the old Republican elite. He's the ones like any of those people like him that are left, whether they're just voters and citizens out there or people in elective offices, they are such a small percentage now. Like I said, we took over. MAGA has taken over the Republican Party. It is ours. And we are not giving it the fuck back. And there was a time when I believe it was very true that Republicans and Democrats were two sides of the same coin. There wasn't a big difference between the two. You had a little bit different here, a little bit different here, but basically, you know, they were in this range. It's not that way anymore. That, for me, I'm just speaking for me, for example, is even though I identify as a Republican, that's not my main identification. My main identification is MAGA conservative. That's it. And it used to be Reagan conservative for a long time. But now it's definitely MAGA conservative. That's more important to me than whatever the traditional Republican was, or beliefs, or, values were.
Yeah.
That's not what I don't care about that. I care about getting things done. And when we can compromise, when we can work out, like, I don't know if you saw, but how phenomenal was it that the president, and there are some people criticizing this, right? That the president actually brought back a teacher from Russia that had been in Russian prison for 3.5 years. And I don't know if he had a 10-year, 20-year sentence. It was pretty long. And now it was stupid on the teacher's part, okay? That he went to Russia and got caught with medical marijuana, okay? You really should check that shit out. That in a lot of those countries, they don't give a shit about whether or not it's legal medically in the U.S., and you can't assume that just because it's legally, that it's
legal here in the U.S.
Legal here in the U.S.
From
that you can just take it anywhere you want.
Yeah.
And in fact, I've always said, when it comes to the things that I do, like testosterone and peptides and stuff, there's one place, whether you have a script or not, whether you have a written letter from your doctor, I don't know, but there's one place I would never travel to, even if I was doing it, let's put it the right way. Okay. Australia. They're just motherfuckers there when it comes to that shit. Like, I just wouldn't do it. But I've traveled with my testosterone to foreign countries and all over the U.S. because clients ask me, can I take this with me? Fuck yeah, you can take it with you. It's no problem. I've been to Canada, Mexico, other, what other country was I was thinking of another one off the top of my head, but anyways, multiple other foreign countries I've been to and never had a problem or a situation so I know that those are good, but you should probably know weed.
It's pretty on top of the
because
list
that's kind of what
bring.
that Griner got in trouble for when she went to Russia, the basketball player. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it was
you're right.
more of weed in one of the vapes kind of thing, cartridges or weed cartridges or whatever like that. So, but his was 3.5 years ago. But why didn't Biden get him home? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, other countries shouldn't be keeping if I didn't see anywhere where it was alleged that this teacher claimed to be a teacher, but Russia thought he was a spy. I didn't see anything like that. So it's like he's legit a teacher that went to Russia for whatever reason. He went to Russia. People go to Russia, but he had this medical marijuana with him. That was the reason. It wasn't that they thought that they used the medical marijuana as the reason, but they thought he really was a spy. You know what I mean? That wasn't the thing. And we're just going to, our government, I expect my government to bring and I don't care what their politics are. Like, I know a lot of people had opinions about it and really didn't like Griner for, her stance politically and that. And I was one person said, I don't agree with that either, but I want her here. I want her on U.S. soil. It's like, think of it like this. I can call my brother an asshole, but if you call my brother an asshole, I'm hitting you in the, right in the nose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't get to call my brother an asshole, but I can. Same with it. Like, bring my fellow American home. you don't get to fuck with him. I don't care who you think you are or what that's just, I don't know. I'm just different that way, you know? Like I can put that political shit aside, that like there's a bigger issue. Like other countries can't think they could do that shit and get away with it, kind of a thing.
Gotcha.
So I thought it was great that he did that. He's also he talked to Putin, and that asshole Senator Adam Schiff was bitching that he talked to Putin first and not Zelensky. He talked to them both in the same day. And how about this? So other countries have given Ukraine money, but they've given them money as loans. We were just giving them money and just giving them money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying none of it was done as loans, but it was mostly just giving them the money. And we weren't getting anything in return or the promise of it being paid back. And sometimes it's initially done as a loan, and then later on, if the country is struggling, the bigger country that loaned the money will sometimes forgive it or forgive part of it or things like that. That happens too. But the president sent Vance, Rubio, and someone else are there now, I think, sent them over there to negotiate. And the president and Zelensky have already talked about it, about a deal where in exchange for the money we've been giving them, that we're going to have access to their rare earth minerals and shit that we need.
Okay.
Like the shit that we need for batteries and shit like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That we don't have. Dude, that's a good thing. It's a good thing for us. Because I don't know, you probably don't remember, but during the Iraq war, some people were worried we were going to take Iraq's oil. We should have taken their oil. I'm not saying we should have taken it for free, but we should have had first dibs at it or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if we're freeing a country from their dictator, we should get something for that. It's the whole gangster thing, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's how shit should work.
They get some
You
payment.
got to give me a couple points for that. You know what I mean? I know, and I've been watching so much Sopranos, man. It's really, really bad. Really bad. But yeah, we're negotiating those things and negotiating the end of the war. And I know it's exactly what I said, that it wasn't day one, but it was going to be pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And no matter what happens, there are people that are going to bitch about it. And look, neither side is going to get everything that they want. They're just not. And the president said that one of the things that Russia wants, that he kind of agrees with, and I absolutely agree with, is they're not going to be allowed in NATO. They weren't supposed to ever be able to be in NATO. That was an agreement from decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I talked about it. We wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want Russia, or let's say China, making a military deal, alliance with Mexico or Canada, a country on our border, that, because we want to make Canada the 51st state, or Trump does. So Canada, instead of becoming the 51st state, makes an agreement with China that if we invade Canada, then China has to protect Canada. Okay? We would never allow that to happen. We'll never allow somebody on our border to make a deal like that. That's just not going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if China has a deal with North Korea, that's probably not that surprising. We don't care as much.
Yeah.
We're just not going to.
Not near our borders, yeah.
Yeah. And their rockets suck. They can reach South Korea. You know what I mean? They're not good.
Threat,
He's got a little button. We haven't even heard from that little dude in forever now, right? And I don't think we're going to hear much
he
about
hasn't
him.
been in the news in a while.
No, not at all. And we're not. I don't think we are going to hear from him now with Trump in power. That is
No.
just not going to be a thing. But if he does try to get some attention, he'll get slapped down very quickly. That's what we see happening. Is that kind of a thing. And the main thing that Trump wants is and Americans we want the war to end. We want to stop sending billions and billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine to fund this war and really fight Russia for us. We've had that conversation that we're directly involved. When we are helping them send a missile that they couldn't send without us, that's us firing the missile at Russia. That is not cool. I'm sorry. I realize they're not our friend, but they do not have to be our enemy like people portray it to be. That does not have to be a thing. There was a time, when we were on the same team for a minute, to fight Germany, and that was a thing. We don't need to we have a better chance at prosperity, and so do they. If we just, again, we don't have to be friends, but just get along.
Yeah.
Don't poke each other in the eye, kind of a thing,
I get that.
Yeah. And they're probably, there's a certain part of the country that's Russian in Ukraine, really Russian.
Yeah.
And that part is probably going to be negotiated and stay with Russia. And especially if maybe they'll even allow a vote for it. I don't know what'll be done. Okay. But I did like that Trump said that Ukraine needs to have elections in the near future. That because Zelensky, they were supposed to have elections and he canceled it. Because one, they're not a democracy, and he maybe wouldn't have won the election.
No, yeah.
But they didn't allow the election. Well, there needs to be elections again there. And I like that he said that. For all of us, for the betterment of Americans, the main goal is for the war to end and the two sides to figure out a way to agree to make that happen. That's it. The president really isn't dictating really to each side, and I think that's good, but just being the broker in the middle, bringing the sides together, with the main goal of, a lot of lives have been lost. I don't even know. Is that something you can pull up? Total lives lost in Ukraine-Russian war. Yeah, that. I don't know when that's updated. September 2024. Is it saying there's only 14,000? That's not right.
Military and civilian.
Yeah, that's not right.
And up to 1 million estimated casualties during the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard for me to see from that far away. I'm old, man. Okay. Yeah, 1 million sounds more like it. Absolutely. So that's the whole point. That's a lot of people. We wouldn't want that to happen, and certainly we can understand why we wouldn't want that to happen somewhere else. So that's, again, these are all good things. People being brought home from various countries, American citizens. We had the ones what was it, in Venezuela that we brought home too. So I think that, and we were talking, remember, we didn't even know that these American citizens were even being held there.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was cool about the Trump bringing the teacher home, he met the mother of that teacher during the campaign.
Yeah.
And he met her at the rally that was in Pennsylvania where he got shot, where the assassination attempt was.
Okay.
And she said something to him about her son, and he promised her that he would do it, and he did. That's the thing. I mean, how many times have we been told by politicians that they're going to do something
And they don't.
and
do it.
it doesn't do it?
Mhm.
And the one thing the left can say whatever they want. The reason those of us that voted for him are happy is the things we voted for. Like, is it, nobody voted for Elon Musk. Kind of we did. We knew about this. We knew that he was going to set this up, that this Doge was going to be a thing. Yeah. It was part of the plan, and he's doing it. So we did vote for it. Maybe we didn't vote for him as an individual, but we did vote for this shit to happen.
Yeah.
We did vote for this shit to be cleaned up. And isn't it great to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse? Things that are just totally, because let me give you another example here quick before we finish. Because I think there's been a slight change. We were initially told that the $50 million in condoms to Gaza was for Hamas, and they used them to send like bombs or something into Israel.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's not the case or true, that they were sent somewhere else and it was to prevent AIDS. Here's the thing. Most Americans, we probably don't think it's our job for our government to be sending $50 million worth of condoms. And that's got to be 100 to 200 million condoms, I would think, right? I mean, how much is a fucking condom? But you know what I'm saying? I mean,
I
buying in bulk.
Yeah.
But then again, we get bad deals. It might be for 50 condoms. You know what I mean? $50 million, $1 million a condom. I don't know. But the whole point is, most Americans don't think we should be doing that before taking care of our own shit. And if that's something that you believe in, then set up a charity. Set up a charity. Ask people for money. Deliver condoms to that country. See if that works. But we really don't want our government doing it, whether it's for bombs or it still doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
So even if the story is different, doesn't matter. The whole point is the money.
Yeah.
And what it's going for and whether we approve of it or not. And most of us don't. So we did get to some more political stuff today, and there's way more. And while we were doing this, RFK did get approved.
Got confirmed.
Yep, he got confirmed. That's all done. So the people that they said were going to struggle are there now. So I'll have to look for the next show and see who's left. Because, so really, the only one that they were able to kind of stop before it really got going was Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. And every other one, Trump has been able to push through. And look at that same asshole again, Mitch McConnell. Same piece of shit. Who voted against Tulsi, voted against Robert Kennedy Jr. Wow. I mean, I'm sure he's going to retire because there's no way he gets reelected again, because the machine that will be put in place to make sure that he gets primaried and not even get a chance at a general election will be huge. It'll be huge. There's no way. I don't believe it. So, all right, there we go. That's our show for today. This has been the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life.